Hi there, guys. Just going for one of my night strolls again. It's quite disappointing, actually. I lost a subscriber. I was like on 1.301 and I went down to 300, so that was a bit disappointing. Like after I posted the some great news as well about a new Swerve Driver EP, so that was disappointing. I don't know why I lost the sub there. 'Cause I'm only trying to build this channel. Just for you guys, really, just for the sake of the community. So I was a bit disappointed to see that. I do look at the stats from time to time. So yeah, I was just like thinking about the music industry and thinking about Breather and that my old band, and thinking about their motivations and my motivation, and just thinking about it's a dead end for us all, really, in 2024, about to become 25. And I was just thinking, like, well, you used to have to move to London or Manchester to make it, like Alan McGee did. He took a chance, moved down from Glasgow, started his nightclub up, the Living Room in London, and did a fanzine called Communication Blur. And then it went from there, didn't it? He started pressing labels out of necessity. But I think these days, if you move to London, I don't think there's gold on the other side anymore. And I don't think any of us would get anywhere, to be honest. Which is why I just think that I'm quite content about being out of my old band, Breather. Just because I just don't think you'll get anywhere. Despite all the travelling, the commitment. I just don't think London and Manchester, there was a student who was on my DBS course. He's not on it anymore for some reason, I don't know why. He seemed like a journeyman, really. He was like someone who's been around chasing all kinds of media studies, really, not just music, but he's done like arts degrees and movie stuff, I think. But yeah, this guy, he was in London. I think he is from Plymouth originally or something. I think he is from down here, I think. But he moved to London and he didn't find the pot of gold. He didn't get signed or anything. I mean, he's a proper musician type as well, with his granddaddy jump, his granddad jumpers on, and yeah, proper nerds and stuff about alternative music. And he didn't make it, and he ended up back in Plymouth. And the same as Sophie Lord as well. I mean, I don't think there's any problem with name checking those people on here, because I'm not saying anything negative about them. But the same with Sophie Lord, so talented, so gifted, but she's moved back to Plymouth after spending a few years in London. I'm sure she's made some contacts in London and stuff, and met John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin, and yeah, made some contacts, had some awesome experiences, but ultimately she's back in Plymouth. It's just shows that there isn't the industry in London anymore, is there? And when was the last band that you heard of that's come from London? I mean, like Wolf Alice or something was like the last big London band, and that was like they became big in like 2015, 14, 15. Yeah. So this is what I mean, like, just trying to make the point that, is it worth all the journeying around the country? Is it worth hiring the vans and stuff? Like, because I feel I'm not missing anything by not being in Breather anymore. I don't think I'm missing anything at all. I think DBS degree is really cool. And yet again, there's a dead end to that as well. I mean, once I get the degree, what do I do then? Yeah, I just think everything in arts and music it's it is a side thing, isn't it, as a hobby, really. I think that perhaps the middle class people are sort of, you do get a bit of an upper hand with paying for stuff and being able to pay for stuff and hire in studios and stuff. But I mean, really, I think if you work, you know, just do like a supermarket retail job or whatever, just do a basic job, even part-time job, I think you can still cook up great music just using a DAW and the right interface and instruments. I think anybody, regardless of money, can get something good out there. So I don't know if it's a class thing, really, but it's something we get too hooked up on this country. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, does it? People can like what they like. Like, I think if you're rich and stuff, then as long as you're doing something positive with that affluence, then it's only a good thing. But yeah, the industry. Yeah, I was looking at a musicians union sort of brochure thing today. Streaming obviously is the if we can fight streaming, fight Spotify. That's vital. That's going to change a lot. Like I said, people like Rick Beato, the big influencers on YouTube, if they can actually convert their energy into creating like record labels and stuff, then that they can surely rival the stranglehold that Spotify's got, and the big boys at BMG and Sony and what else is there? Island Records, is it? Atlantic, are those guys still going? Columbia? Don't know, I think it's only like 3 or something now. I think they all like sort of merged together. But yeah, streaming is the big problem. I think that's you know, I don't think geography matters, does it? I think that's why moving to London doesn't actually work for people now, because I don't think location has anything to do with it, because you can just upload anywhere, anytime. So yeah, I think like places like London, that the necessity to move to a bigger city has become redundant. But I mean, gigs and stuff, it must be just like a merry-go-round of doing the same thing without getting anywhere. I mean, I just don't really, it's just not like it was, is it, in the 20th century or the early 2000s, I think. Because you don't have those scouts at gigs, that's the trouble. So you play into people, and it's like, yeah, you know, you can get them to subscribe to your channel. You can get them to follow you on Instagram and all of that good stuff. But ultimately, there isn't like a scout, is there? Like a father figure who just turns up and says, yeah, I want to sign you people. There isn't those Alan McGee's, those Ivor Watts Russells, the Rough Trade guy, Jeff Travis. I mean, who's the guy? Dominic or something. Domino Records. Lawrence Bell, isn't it? Lawrence Bell. He was like the guy who founded the Arctic Monkeys, I think, on MySpace, and then signed them to Domino Records in the 2000s. I mean, they were like the last big. Maybe Lawrence Bell was the last kind of maverick. He was the last maverick. And also you got Wichita Records as well, who signed Block Party. That was what's he called? Dick Green from Creation. That was his label after he stopped Creation. But yeah, I think the scouts at gigs, I think there's such a, well, I call them scouts, but I mean, that's football terminology, isn't it? But